Hey everyone, so to be honest, I didn't want to be the one making this video because I felt like I'm not probably the best expert on it, but I do have experience in, being a brand owner for the past 4 years and importing and exporting. And I was one of the first people like kind of impacted by the tariffs that are now being imposed on all of us as an industry. So at first I felt like, how come no one is talking about this? And I still do feel that way. And it's been a few weeks now, and it just seems like we are all going on about our day because, the impact on it haven't been really felt yet. But it's just because nobody's really talking about it, and it's all that a lot of people are thinking about right now. It's causing a lot of like chaos and anxiety. And so as an educator, as somebody who has a lot of followers from the industry, as far as like artists and brand owners, and we are all connected, and globally we have a lot of relationships with each other in the body art and permanent makeup industry. So I just kind of wanted to make this video just to make you feel like you are not alone, that we are all experiencing this global shift, and just to clarify what's going on, because a lot of people still don't even know what a tariff is. So what is a tariff? Let's say you want to order these two Sharpies, okay? And you are a brand. Let's say you own the brand Sharpie, right? So these are made, let's say, in a factory, which I don't know anything about Sharpie, but let's say these are made in a factory overseas. So they're making them for you, they put your name on them, and then they come to the United States. And once they arrive, they get, they go to a port, and then after they're at the port, they, kind of get held up there for a little bit, and then they get shipped to you, and then you get a bill in the mail saying, hey, this is kind of like the tax because you ordered from this specific country. So you end up paying, let's say you paid $1 for each Sharpie. With, let's say, a 100% tariff, you end up paying I believe $2. So it's like, because it's 100%, yeah, you'll end up paying $2. So is it still cheaper for you to manufacture over there versus here? I don't know. But then the cost gets passed on to the customer that's buying from here. So if this costs me, and I want to go buy Sharpies, if this costs them like $2, they were selling it when it costed them for $1 for like $4. Now it costs $6. So it's kind of like that. That's really what a tariff is. Brands like Walmart, Target, have 60% of imported stuff. So like, let's say you want to go buy your little kid a bike. If Target purchased the bike, and it was like, instead of the bike costing $8, now it costs $16. So now instead of you paying $50, now you're paying $80. So it's kind of like that. Big brands, they order in bulk. So if the order was $1 million, now the order is $2 million. So that's kind of what a tariff is, for those of you who just kind of needed a really brief explanation of what that is. So I just want to get into it. I kind of made a little thing just to kind of explain everything. And we have different roles in the industry. So if you are making money in the industry, okay, I think this is good. Either an artist, a teacher, a mentor, or you create events. You are a brand, which is mostly what we are. I rarely service clients as much as I used to. I mostly, work at the Beauty Institute, and we sell courses and supplies. You're either an Amazon seller, a manufacturer, or you're a consumer. So I just kind of want to talk about how these roles are going to be impacted by what's happening globally. I've been getting people reaching out to me as far as like friends, even global partners, and things like, hey, what's going on? Like what's going to happen? There's a lot of anxiety going on, especially if you are in this area or this area. So I just kind of want to address it from the way I see it. This isn't a political video. This has nothing to do with like if I am with it or not with it. It's just of what's happening and how it might impact us as a whole. So basically, if you are an artist or a service provider, you are making money on the service that you're providing. So you're not really making money off of like the supplies. You're not buying a tattoo machine because your tattoo machine is more expensive. You're charging the client more. You're charging based on skill. And I would say that the cost for you, even if it does go up by like 300%, because we do charge pretty fairly. Most skill artists, I've seen tattoos go for like 8,000, 5,000. We're charging on skill, so you shouldn't really be affected by this global shift, even if your tray setup gets because of the bibs, the cups, the bottles, like the barrier tape might be a little bit more expensive. But if you're charging a tray minimum of like $50 or $60, if your service is, a little bit more than that, you should be completely fine. I think if you are somebody who is still doing like Friday the 13th, $13 tattoos, and like if you are somebody who is still, exchanging, maybe bartering for your services, this might impact you if you're charging very, very little for your services, but that's usually not the case. So I would say this area is pretty safe, As far as teachers, school, and event holders, like if they're buying a lot of, goodie bags and different things, because all the costs, usually everything is, as made in China, because a lot of the costs are typically imported from China to the USA, you might experience like a lot of delays. And that's something that you might experience as an artist too. You might experience a lot of delays in your products coming here because of the recent tariff laws. Not only impacted the cost of like the things coming in, but because they have to assess like how much to charge you, they are holding them at the different ports. I would say Kentucky, California, and Alaska. So there's a bunch of cargo from China just kind of waiting here for months. So for example, we had a shipment that we ordered in November and it didn't get here until, it's still not here. It's going to get here mid-April. So these are things we've never experienced before, which then gets passed down to the customers by, shelves being out of stock for longer than usual, or like going to your favorite store and just like not finding the items there because they're just not reaching the distributors or the brands when like the flow of inventory has just been disrupted for a lot of brands right now. But so yeah, event planners just might have to plan like way ahead to get everything they need, and cost of tickets like might go up. For somebody that's like a school or a teacher, if you're still providing a service, as far as like you're not really providing the supplies but you're just providing the education, because you're doing business as a business owner like in the United States, so like the teacher and the client are both like in the same states, you really have like not much to worry about. Now, if you are importing like machines from China, you might have to raise your prices. So personally, we haven't raised our prices yet, and I don't want to make this about our brand because it's not, but because of these laws have been like changing every single day, we haven't really taken major actions as far as like, finding new distributors or upping our price or anything, because it's just been like chaotic lately. So brands and distributors might have the hardest time right now because we are typically sourcing things from different countries, you know what I'm saying? And then getting them all here under our label or our design or whatever, and then reselling them. So getting them in the country right now is just a pain because they're getting stuck at ports. And then also because the prices keep going up, like the tariffs went up from 10 to 20 to 50 to now 148, I believe. So we haven't really passed on the cost to the client yet, but a lot of brands are, either halting operations because for the longest time, like we functioned as a global economy. So we're still a global economy, but the barriers have gotten, there is a trade war going on, you know what I'm saying? So because this is a blanket tariff, which means all industries are impacted by this. So even if we're such a small industry amongst like automotive and all these things, we are like kind of a speck, but we are impacted by this because it's not a targeted tariff. Like this isn't just an automotive tariff or a technology tariff. It is a blanket tariff on everybody, all the countries. So everyone is impacted by this. Everyone can feel this. And I just that's why I want to make this video, because I just want you to know that you're not like going crazy because the world isn't normal right now. So I don't want you to feel like everyone's just acting like it is. It's not. So brands and distributors right now, just sourcing is very difficult. They might be out of stock. So give people grace, like if your order is delayed, or you might experience like different issues with inventory or the pricing. So these brands are the most hit right now because the entire like that's kind of like where we fall under, where like the entire operation is basically sourcing, from different places, getting it here. And so like the model for most brands, like even athletics, or I don't want to name different brands, but like Nike, for example, China's cost to make Nike shoes is probably, I would say, $2. And then by the time it gets here to a brand, then the brand sells it for, let's say, like $150. So then along the way, they're making $2 and then we're making the difference. So, we're making about $140, let's say, revenue. So then, brands over here are winning. But what's happening, I think, right now, too, with like a lot of the brands that are Chinese in origin are shipping to the United States directly without a middleman brand via like Shein and Amazon. So if something costs $2, they're like selling it for like, let's say $16, which then makes it super hard for like, let's say, a brand to compete with, which then the American brand will go out of business. For example, like how we lost like Charlotte Russe and Rue 21 and like a bunch of cheaply priced store because the client wanted cheap prices. So we can't really compete with the manufacturer itself. So over the past like 16 or 10 years, it's been shifting to where the middleman have been kind of like cut out. So yeah, I mean, for brands and distributors that are still owning it as a middleman and having an easy time competing, maybe because they have IP or different things that make them stick out. Ooh, I'm like talking into this instead of that. But yeah, like some brands are still surviving, but it is really hard, like let's say, to be an Amazon seller. If you are based in the United States importing from China, selling on Amazon, it would be extremely difficult for you to compete with China itself because your prices will never be as low as the manufacturer's prices. So that's kind of a struggle that was happening before. And I think with tariffs, it's just gonna cut this out and then also cut this out. So I'm not really sure how that's gonna work. This isn't a video where I give you like my opinion on what if I think it's good or bad. I just wanted to make this video to kind of show you what is being impacted for you as a tattoo artist or a brand or a seller or whatever. And then one of the last roles that I have written here is the manufacturer. So we have a few factories in the United States that make tattoo machines. I believe we just have two, but I think we might have like three ones. So those are in good position right now because brands, might be looking at USA made machines and wanting to offer those. But what I would say is because all the prices are going up, so like let's say if the manufacturer is getting the outside of the product, or if the manufacturer is getting like the screen of the machine from China and those things are going up, then the prices of even American made things might be going up. Even the factory itself, like if they have light bulbs, or they have electricity has gone up, or if they have different things that might have gone up like in the factory as far as like maintenance that they were buying even from the American store, which was originally buying from China. If all those things are going up, then the machines will also go up. But if the cost of the machine actually didn't go up that much for the factory, I would say, and I said this isn't like an advice video, but if they don't price gouge and like write on the fact that everything's going up, I think it would be a really great opportunity for brands to start working with American manufacturers, because it would make sense to start buying machines like from here. But if it still makes more sense for us to pay tariffs, and it's still cheaper even with like a 200% tariff to buy a lot of the products from China, then I think it wouldn't be good to build relationships. I think this is a great time to build new relationships. So I would say keeping it honest is a really good way to start a good relationship. And that's one of the things I loved with working with a lot of the different countries, is that they were really committed to like loyalty and honesty and like fair pricing. And it was honestly, the relationships are, I would say, really good, just as somebody who did this for a long time. I know I don't show it. I don't show us printing labels. I don't show the boxes. I don't show what we do. That's just not what I want to like show on my page. I don't like showing this is just not what I do, but we do it every single day. So it's just, what's happening is really a huge global adjustment. So the last thing is the consumer and clients. And I've noticed that in our industry, a lot of people are saying, you know, we're getting slower. We're getting a lot slower. I used to be booked out like months in advance. I'm not that booked out anymore. Things like that. So the one thing I want to say is like, don't freak out over all this stuff. If you are somebody who's still taking clients, like, this isn't going to affect you that much, because you are making money off of your time and talent rather than buying and selling. But yes, clients might just have a little bit less money. A lot of people are getting laid off. But what I will say is, like, with adversity comes opportunity. And a lot of people are finding opportunity right now. Like, some people are getting hired, especially like if somebody, so I live in Michigan and we have a lot of steel factories. So some people are, you know, really happy about this because of now everybody has to source from, you know, their business. And then some people are getting laid off because of, like, let's say like they were using different raw materials that were coming from overseas. So it is way too early, because we are in the middle of, like, I guess, negotiations, and different laws are coming out every single day. Way too early to see the long-term effects of this, or say that this is good or bad, or I mean, you could definitely have an opinion, but it is way too early to make major decisions like building a factory or something like that. This is kind of a scary turbulence, and why I wanted to make this video is because I just want you to know we're all in this, and we're all thinking about all this stuff, and it's something that's affecting everybody. And, you know, as an educator, I just felt like I had to share what I know about the situation with you and how it affects our industry.